Hello? We're live? We're live and alive. We're awake. We're woke. I need to get a new tagline. We're alive and alive, and we're awake and we're woke is very cringe. But it's just what I have. It's just what I say, and I own it proudly. How we doing? Yesterday I was streaming yesterday, and my stream just died, and my internet went out, and it just didn't come back. So we're back today, though, boys. We're back. We're back on that grind, that streamer grind. I've got a whole bunch of news articles and videos and stuff we're gonna watch. It's been a good day. We've got I think Israel-Palestine war is back on. I think I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't look promising. There's a guy who was going to be White House special counsel, I think, who turned out to be a Nazi. Hell yeah, we love it when the GOP takes off their shirt and it's just Nazi tattoos covering the GOP's chest, which, I mean, nobody's really surprised by that, but here we are. You gotta love when the Nazis reveal that they're Nazis. Always good to know. Okay. Oh, is there any good memes before we get into the news? Anything crazy going out on Twitter? Anything? The government is still shut down. Hell yeah, we love a shut down government. Doesn't look like there's any good memes, unfortunately. It's just people being deeply upset about politics. Hell yeah. Okay. First things first, let's read about this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are bombing South American countries still because, I don't know, I guess we don't like having friends. We don't want allies. We don't want anything. Why am I getting North Carolina updates? I don't care about this. This one. Oh, this. There we go. Oh, wait. Is this the article I think I was already reading? It might be. We'll come back to it, but here we are. We're going to start with this article. The U.S. strikes the 8th alleged drug-carrying boat, this time in the Pacific Ocean, killing 2 people. Isn't it crazy that we're just doing war crimes? We're just oh yeah, what if we just do some war crimes? What if we just pop out into the ocean and just bomb the first boat that we see because there may be drugs on it? Just a little bit of bombing, just murdering some civil. It's just some light civilian massacring, guys. It's not that serious. I'm kidding. It's very serious. What are the chances we end up at war? I feel like every day it gets higher, right? Every day that we sit around and just keep bombing them, eventually either we are going to push them to war or they are going to be forced to respond. What are the chances we just straight up bomb Bogota? Is Bogota in Colombia? Because we bombed Venezuela and Colombia, right? Either way, it's not going to go well. All right, let's see. The U.S. military conducted its 8th strike against an alleged drug vessel killing 2 people, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said Wednesday. The Tuesday night strike, occurred in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The 7 previous strikes all targeted vessels in the Caribbean. According to Hegseth, in a social media post, the strike killed 2 people, bringing the death toll from all the strikes to at least 34 people. My dog is barking. He's freaking out. I don't know what's going on down there. Anyways. Is this really how we do it? We do press releases on Twitter now. The United States government is yeah, just put a tweet out. You are bombing boats. You're just randomly just killing people. And you're just yeah, just put out a Twitter. Let me do a quick tweet. Let me do an X. Let me X about it. I don't know. But we're not a serious country anymore, guys. We just have to accept that. In a brief video released by Hegseth, sorry, I'm dying. Would you like many viewers? How about I block you? Get fucked. Okay. In a brief video released by Hegseth, a small boat, half filled with brown packages, is seen moving along the water. Several seconds into the video, the boat explodes and is seen floating motionless on the water in flames. In his post, Hegseth took the unusual step of equating the alleged drug traffickers to the group behind the September 11th, 2001 attack. Just as Al-Qaeda waged war on our homeland, these cartels are waging war on our border and our people, Hegseth said, adding, there will be no refuge or forgiveness, only justice. Is this... What is his tag? Sec War? He changed it to Sec War because he wants to be the war boy. I guess I'll follow him. Hold up, wait. I don't know if this is against TOS to see people die on a boat, so. Yep, they're dead. Yep, they're super dead. Okay. Cool. Wait, so the vessel, okay. Wait, let me pause the video so we don't get taken down for murder on stream. Okay, let's read this post. Let's see if they can come up with a valid justification for randomly bombing boats. Yesterday, at the direction of President Trump, the Department of War conducted a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel being operated by a designated terrorist organization and conducting narco-trafficking in the Eastern Pacific. The vessel was known by our intelligence to be involved in illicit narcotic smuggling, was transiting along a known narco-trafficking transit route, and carrying narcotics. There were 2 narco-terrorists aboard the vessel during the strike, which was conducted in international waters. Both terrorists were killed, and no U.S. forces were harmed in the strike. Narco-terrorists intended to bring poison to our shores, and will find no safe harbor anywhere in our hemisphere. Just as Al-Qaeda waged war on our homeland, these cartels are waging war on our border and our people. There will be no refuge or forgiveness, only justice. So, you know the whole thing. Listen, you can critique our justice system all day long. There are many, many valid critiques of the way our system works, okay? Just to put that as our beginning frame of reference. And then the second thing I would ask is, what is one of the most important things about our justice system? It's guilty until proven innocent, right? I'm sorry, innocent until proven guilty. I fucked that one up. That's my bad. But what's going on here? Why are we doing this? Why are we just who? What's the thought? I don't even know where to begin. Analyzing this. How many levels of stupid do you need to be to do this and be yeah, everyone it's such an easy thing to just knock down and be yeah, so you can say whatever you want, but there's no evidence of anything. You're just saying they're narco-terrorists. You're just saying it's narcotics. You're just saying it's a no narco route. Could you provide just a little bit of evidence, right? If these are all totally legal, totally morally justifiable, apparently, you should be very willing to just release all the evidence of, hey, here's how we know that it's a narco boat. Here's the drugs that were on it. Here's the path that they were taking. Then here's the evidence that this is a known path. And here's the organization they were a part of. And but what you have here is a boat with some boxes. I don't know what that is. That's nothing. That's not even probable cause, dude. That's that's an Amazon order, dog. They're doing an Uber drive. What are we? We're just fantasy land right now. Okay. Let's just be delusional. This is definitely a war crime, right? This has got to be a war crime. I'm not an expert on war crimes, but if this isn't a war crime, I don't know what is. Just randomly bombing a boat and just being yeah, they were bad. Let's go to war. Hell yeah. What is this? The chairman, I felt the need for spew a Top Gun. What is this?
And
why are we doing random Top Gun okay, whatever. Let's just live in delusion. Listen, if somebody supports this, they are just delusional. They have zero information and they are delusional. They feel really good about it. It makes them feel good to be we're fighting for America. We're stopping the drugs. But I'm okay. So let's say AOC wins the presidency in 28, okay? Can she just bomb a house in America randomly because drugs? Listen, it's in our hemisphere, it's in our country, and there's narco terrorists in the house, and we just start bombing it. Not a single Republican would be even remotely okay with that. Like, if you think if Joe Biden was doing exactly what this is, they'd be okay with that. Like, the hypocrisy is astounding. And some people be like, oh, you're just like doing a hypothetical. Yeah, I'm doing a hypothetical based on like the reactions that the Conservative Party have to everything, which is to cry constantly. Like, I will never be a Republican because Republicans only cry. They cry about everything. It's constant. It's like the drugs, the trans, the gays, it's the brown people, the black people, the illegal people, the legal people, the Democrats, the Republicans, the Europeans, the Chinese, the Mongolians, the people from fucking Uganda. Like, the point is that they are crying constantly about how everyone hates them and everyone's attacking them. And in some sense that is correct. Like, you are hated and you are being like attacked in the sense that people are telling you you're stupid, which, you know, if you think that someone yelling at you is counting as an attack, you are a very weak person. Like, come on, dude. It is pathetic. President Donald Trump has justified the strikes by asserting that the United States is engaged in an armed conflict with drug cartels and is relying on the same legal authority used by President George W. Bush's administration when it declared war on terrorism after the September 11th attack. God, okay, cool. Let's just take a moment and be like, do we have a good history with that? Because like I could have sworn that there was a few things that happened when that was invoked, right? So the armed conflict, like which, to be fair, the peace president doing war, I thought, is a deal maker, right? He should be able to go to these cartels and say, hey, let's make a deal to get you to stop. You know? What happened to the deal maker? What happened to the big strong boy? It's very cucked. It's very cucked. And it's obviously stupid, right? Like, this is from the guy who criticized everything about the war on terror, right? But nobody cares. Nobody, at least no conservatives care. However, the Trump administration has also sidestepped prosecuting any of the occupants of the alleged drug-running vessels after it returned two survivors of an earlier strike to their home countries of Ecuador and Colombia. Ecuadorian officials later said that they released the man that was returned to their country, saying they had no evidence he committed a crime in their country. Who could have seen that coming? Who could have ever seen that coming? What an unexpected thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen. North Carolina lawmakers are approving map, adding a GOP House seat. Dude, I need every Democratic state to like gerrymander just out the wazoo, just like immediately. Like, this is insane. Like, what are we doing here? We're just like, they're actually, no, everything I say is justified. Okay, you read the Jan 6 report. Okay, read the Jan 6 report and then shut the hell up, because this is Donald Trump did try and steal the election, right? That already happened. So like, this is a part of that. This is a plot for the midterms. It's happening in real time. No one is disputing the gerrymandering is happening. The Republicans are just crying about it because they're like, no, you're not allowed to cheat. Only we're allowed to cheat. Oh, like, they're very cucked about it. Like, it's very lame. It's like, oh, we're so strong. Like, it's whiny baby people. If you ever see a Republican talking about this, just tell them they're a crybaby and just like, be like, who cares? And then move on. Like, just don't even address it. Like, normally conservatives like will always try to go on the attack and they'll like try to like do all these talking points. It's like, no, don't care. It's weak. It's crying. You're like, you're just crying super hard, and it's just like nobody cares. Anyways, North Carolina lawmakers give final approval Wednesday to a revised U.S. House map backed by President Donald Trump that is intended to help Republicans win an additional seat in next year's elections. The new congressional map reshapes the state's only current swing district, held by Democratic U.S. Representative Don Davis, by adding more Republican-leaning voters along the coast and shifting some inland voters into adjacent Republican-held district. based. We love gerrymandering, which, like, to be fair, the Conservative and Republican Party, they've been gerrymandering since forever. They don't care. I believe it is that I don't know if it's across the board, but I think every Democratic state has like some sort of independent council in some form to do the districting. I believe there are a few states where like the legislature is allowed to step in after the map is made and change stuff if they want to. So there is that. I will admit that freely and happily. But I don't know if any Republican state has like a gerrymandered free district. So I think it's absolutely fair that if Democratic states want to gerrymander in response to the Republicans doing it since the beginning of America, like, I think that's totally fine. While the GOP already controls 10% of the 14 House districts in North Carolina, a state Trump won by 51% last year, the revised map satisfies the president's call for a GOP-led states to secure more congressional seats for the party nationwide. The revised districts cannot be vetoed by Democratic Governor Josh Stein, though a legal challenge by Democrats or civil rights groups is likely. Yeah, you fucking better, dude. Like, get cucked. There's one of those happening for California, I believe. I want to check and see how that's going. Hopefully, our woke judges will not let that go through, and we can gerrymander the hell out of California. I don't want a single Republican to have a vote, okay? Get them out of here. I want them to cry constantly about how they have no voice in California, and then I want them to leave. I don't want them to leave. I just want them to be crying. Just like, because it's funny. It's funny to watch them cry. Because they're just so baby. They're baby-brained. They're a bunch of baby-brained baby boys and girls. And I would never take away their identity as baby-brained and baby-headed and baby-bodied. Okay? These are some thick-ass Republicans. Little baby boys. Anyways, the administration's most recently pushed for similar redistricting efforts in Indiana, but the state Senate does not have the votes to pass a new congressional map, according to a spokesperson for Indiana Senate Republican leader Roger Bray. Prop 50. Lincoln lawsuit. Let's see. Politico. California Republicans ready to play a trump card over Prop 50. Strategists who once thought the president's involvement would make it harder to defeat the gerrymandering measure now think it might be the only thing that can. Oh, okay. Sounds like they're crying real hard. Man, they are really beta. Like, Republicans are so beta. Like, they do all these things, and then whenever they get a response, they just cry immediately. It's like the one consistency of being a Republican is that anytime there's a response, you just cry. Since Democrats launched their effort to redraw California's U.S. House map, the conventional wisdom has been that any public attempt by President Donald Trump to rally voters against it would have the opposite effect by polarizing the issue in a state where Republicans are greatly outnumbered. But some California Republicans are beginning to reconsider that assumption, just as Trump's long-running feud with California's Democratic leaders is reignited by the fallout, figuratively and literally, from the weekend's Marine Corps celebration at Camp Pendleton and rolling threats to place National Guard troops in San Francisco. Perhaps the only thing that can now defeat Prop 50, strategist says, is to make Trump the main character of the ballot fight. I would definitely ask him to get involved, no question, especially at this stage, said Frank Schubert, a consultant helping to guide the federal super PAC Voters Deserve Better, which is spending about $20,000 to defeat Prop 50. We've got 3 weeks left. It's not that the no side doesn't know what to do. They just don't have the money to do it. Get cucked. You are cucked. Like, you see a Prop 50, you see like a no on Prop 50, laugh at them. Make them feel bad, because they should feel bad. Well, Charles Munger Jr., dude. Someone's a Republican when their name's Munger, dude. Like, what? That is a Republican-ass name. Has put more than $30 million into his Protect Voters First committee, which aims to sway independents and Democrats against the gerrymander. The $100 million former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy promised to mobilize Republicans against Prop 50 has yet to materialize. Governor Gavin Newsom's Yes on 50 campaign, meanwhile, has raised about double the amount of the No campaign and is spending millions of dollars each week to define the race as a referendum on Trump and the future of democracy. Now, that spending disparity seems to have a real impact on the race. Prop 50, which began its march to the November 4th special election by polling underwater had the support of about 54% of voters earlier this month, according to polling from research firm Coefficient. Like, it's it'll probably explain it in the rest of the article, but like, it's very obvious what's happened, which is like the messaging on the Democratic side, and especially for Gavin Newsom generally, has gotten better. And at the same time, the Republican messaging is getting worse. Donald Trump is getting more stupid, doing more blatantly stupid things and more blatantly evil things. And it's turning public opinion against him. Another thing to always remind Republicans, you are the minority. You are unpopular. Nobody likes you. You did not win because, like, trans people. You won because they wanted prices down and voters are stupid. Okay? Just to clarify. Okay. When California lawmakers voted in late August to place Prop 50 on the ballot, it appeared that Trump would play a central role in the daily thrust and parry of the campaign. Trump told reporters that the Department of Justice would be filing a lawsuit against the measure pretty soon, but that lawsuit never materialized. Trump has made essentially no public comments about the measure in nearly 2 months since, bickering more publicly with Democrat politicians in Illinois, Oregon, and New York than their California peers. It's because Gavin Newsom is a Chad. Okay, you can't argue with him because he will bully you. Did you guys remember the debate he did with Ron DeSantis? Like, just for the fun of it, he just like bullied him for like an hour on like TV on like Fox News. That was my favorite thing. It's so good. Maybe we'd watch that again. That was largely how Republicans wanted it in a state where polls show just 34% of likely voters approve of the president's job performance. At a Politico summit in August, Republican strategist Rob Stutzman said that any Trump involvement in the campaign would be great for Prop 50's success. Jim DeBow, who is helping lead the Yes on 50 campaign, argued the measure gave voters the opportunity to be something that could effectively stop what they hate the most. Republicans may have feared what an election that became a referendum on Trump would mean for their chances at victory in deep blue California. But according to Schubert, that's led to a deep enthusiasm gap that is manifested in fundraising and could prove decisive in turnout. According to data from PDI, 50% of ballots returned so far come from Democrats, who make up just 54% of the electorate. Hell yeah. Just be right-wing? Why would I be right-wing? Why would I do that? Like, I would do that if I was stupid, you know? But luckily, I'm not. Okay. Munger's committee, at least, appears ill-inclined to welcome the president's help in the coming weeks. The McCarthy-led Stop Sacramento's Power Grab Committee did not respond to a request for comment. The campaign was never about President Trump, said Protect Voters First spokesperson Amy Tama Tan. Partisan gerrymandering is always wrong, and we oppose it everywhere it happens. Oh, okay, so there's statements from the Protect Voters First group that says that the Republican gerrymandering is bad. It's better. I am not a socialist, dude. I am not a fucking socialist. Don't you dare accuse me of that either. But other Republican operatives, including those working for members of Congress whose districts would be affected by new maps, said there's a logic to taking the good with the bad that comes with the president. Now that Trump has again put his relationship with California back in the news, they might not have a choice. We don't get to decide if the race is about the president or not, said one Republican consulted. Granted anonymity to speak freely, said, if that's the case, embracing him definitely makes the most sense. Okay, so, is there an actual lawsuit here? This is from September? Democracy docket. Another GOP lawsuit. Let's see if there's been any updates to this. Steve Hilton. Is this like the Hilton guy? This is the guy? Former Fox News host? Ew, dude. This guy's not winning. I don't want him anywhere near power. Look at him. He looks like a thumb. The hyper-partisan gerrymandering project undertaken by the governor and legislature, as alleged herein, is an example of government officials acting under color of state law to deprive plaintiff of rights, privileges, and immunities secured by the U.S. Constitution. The complaint argues, courts are empowered to resolve claims of inequality in congressional districts. You know, if everyone stopped being a retard and listening to you, the country would heal in 10 years. Yeah, of course it would, because I'm deeply intellectual and I understand reality in a way that many cannot. You know, it's having a big brain. My brain, huge, massive, big poggies. You know what I'm saying? These are such wild statements to say after Texas unilaterally did hyperpartisan gerrymandering. Like, how do you as a Republican look at that happen in Texas and be like, okay, so Texas has just done hyperpartisan gerrymandering for Republicans. Okay, cool. So California is doing hyperpartisan gerrymandering, which actually is depriving plaintiffs of rights, privileges, and immunities. We care about the people over here. So where do you lean? Center left ish. Like, let's just say I'm a lifelong Democrat. That's where I'm at right now. Listen. There are general conceptions of like a Republican framework that are not terrible. Like if you look at like a Mitt Romney, I'm okay with that. I don't care about like if we want to disagree on like tax rates and like the hyper specific nuances of the way that we do like immigration law, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a two-party system where both parties live in reality and are able to have actual conversation and disagree. That's good for democracy. That's good for the country. That's good for everyone. And you can look in the past of America when we were far less divided, and the Republican Party was able to live in reality pre-Trump. Now the Republican Party has exited reality and they live in delusion, and because of that, the world is getting worse. It is like a direct consequence of Donald Trump. Obviously, there are other factors to that, but like generally, Donald Trump is the reason that the world is getting worse. Which, you know, maybe I have TDS. Maybe I'm TDS'd up. What the hell even is TDS? Is it just like people who don't want to like address criticism, so they just say TDS? Like it's so. That's another thing. Republicans are like so cucked. They're such baby cucks. They're like, you have TDS. I'm like, no, I'm just criticizing, and you can't handle criticism. Like if you cannot handle criticism of a candidate, like you're baby brained. Thank goodness you live in the UK. You guys have like worse political parties, okay? I'm just saying, all right? I don't want to live in the UK, okay? You have a king, okay? I don't want to hear nothing from somebody who has a king, all right? Over here in America, we don't. Hell yeah. We have 4 parties, okay, and we have 2. That makes it even easier. You have to like sort through and be like, oh, what does this party do? What did me? I look at this party, I look at that party, I'm done. It's so easy. Have you tried it? Try it out. Is uncertain? Are we... Wait, he talked to Sergei Lavrov? Marco Rubio? The random-ass senator who became Secretary of State is talking to the Russian foreign minister who's been doing it for like 30 years? This is... Really? What did he do? What did Marco Rubio do to absolutely cuck this? Oh... The king keeps the status quo and is a figurehead. Yeah, and you get fucked because you live in a monarchy, and I am an American and I despise monarchy. All right. Anyways, okay. Now we've got some glorious Russia-Ukraine war news. Let's get hyped, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing Russia, we're doing war, we're doing Ukraine, we're doing violence. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday directed drills of the country's strategic nuclear forces that featured practice missile launches, an exercise that came as his planned summit on Ukraine with U.S. President Donald Trump was put on hold. The Kremlin said that as part of the maneuvers involving all parts of Moscow's nuclear triad, a Yars intercontinental ballistic missile was test-fired from the Pletsky launch facility in northwestern Russia, and a Siniva ICBM was launched by a submarine in the Barents Sea. The drills also involved Tu-95 strategic bombers firing long-range cruise missiles. The exercise tested the skills of military command structures, the Kremlin said in a statement. Putin's a pretty bad guy. That is true. Putin is not a great dude. I don't recommend Vladimir Putin. 0 stars for Putin. You know, 0 stars on like the morality scale. You can be absolutely very impressed with his ability to hold on to power, his ability to influence things. Like, he's highly effective and very competent. Like, if a Putin figure was, like, if Donald Trump had the intellect of Putin, we would be so cooked. But luckily, we don't. Maybe unfortunately as well. I don't know. Maybe I would prefer like an efficient authoritarian takeover, because then at least it would just be done and it wouldn't be so stupid. But instead, we have to live through like the dumbest timeline where like you've got like the drooling cabinet like wandering around with Trump, and they're like bumping into walls and being like, "How do we take over?" And then Trump's like, "Suck me," and then they're like, "Yes, sir." And then they start jerking him. You know what I'm saying? Just a little jerking on Trump. Okay, so this war's never ending. Not while Trump's in office. There's no way. If Trump had the IQ of Putin, maybe it wouldn't be as brain dead. Yeah, which, like, it could be worse, but, like, almost I might prefer that, because then at least the Democratic Party lost to, like, somebody competent. I hate the politicians that act like idiots, but are very smart, like Boris Johnson and Kim Jong-un. I don't know enough about Boris Johnson or Kim Jong-un to speak on their intelligence. I saw an interview with Boris Johnson where he was like, AI, ChatGPT, and, like, he pronounced it in, like, such a fun, ChatGPT. AI. Like, it's, my British on that was real bad, I'm sorry. But I stand by it, which is to say that Boris Johnson is pretty cool. I mean, you say about Putin was 96% of Russians own home. I mean, that, you know, it's important. I'll take a Boris Johnson quote. 96% of Russians owning a home, like, sure, I guess that's good in a vacuum, that's good. Like, I'm not gonna, why would you bring that up? What is the point of that? Like, in a vacuum, anything could be good. Like, 5 people died yesterday. That could be good in a vacuum, because guess what? Those 5 people could be terrorists, but also those 5 people could be not terrorists. Like, anything could be anything when you just make statements. I mean, it's better than Trump, at least. So what, your argument is I would rather have Putin and everyone has a home than Trump and people are homeless? Like, it's just a pointless argument. It's not something you need to argue. It's a waste of time. And it's not helpful. I get your point, but it's just not a helpful point. Anyways. I'm scooting in. Okay. Putin, sitting alone at a round white table, faced big screens showing Gerasimov and Defense Minister Andrei Belousov. My chances of being PM are about as good as the chances of finding Elvis on Mars, or am I being reincarnated as an olive? Hell yeah. What a queen. Dude, he's like a poet. Honestly, he was Boris Johnson like the first poet king of England? While Putin emphasized that the maneuvers had been planned in advance, they came hours after President Donald Trump said Tuesday his plan for a swift meeting with Putin in Budapest was on hold because he didn't want it to be a waste of time. Peppa Pig world is very much my kind of place. God, what a king. He speaks so well. The decision about the meeting in Budapest, Hungary, which Trump had announced last week, was made following a call Monday between U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Lavrov made clear in comments Tuesday that Russia is opposed to an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. Trump, meanwhile, has been shifting his stance all year on key issues in the conflict, including whether a ceasefire should come before long-term peace talks and whether Ukraine could win back land seized by Russia during almost 4 years of fighting. Isn't Peppa Pig 7? I believe so, yeah. I think Peppa Pig is like a mutant freak. I think I was once doing cocaine, but I sneezed, and so it did not go up my nose. In fact, it may have been icing. God, what a wise boy. What a king. That's a king I'd be okay with. No kings, but Boris Johnson comes to America and starts a royal family. I would not be fully against that. Just for the like, listen, if I had to give Trump like a royal, like, monarch's title in America, like we would have a king in America, but like he had no power, instead of what he's doing now, I'd do that every time. Because guess what? Trump, when he's not being a political monster and doing horrific things constantly, is incredibly funny. Okay, I stand by that. He's incredibly funny, and he used to be a great communicator, but he's not anymore. Now he's just stupid and drooling and evil. Great prime minister, he's not a king. No, but I'm saying if I were, he would be the king that I'd be okay with. You know, like the king now you guys have, he's boring and he's old. He doesn't do fun quotes. You know, like if I'm gonna be forced to have a monarchy, it better be a cool ass monarchy. I love looking at cartoon characters from the front facing you. It's my favorite. Show me Spider-Man from the front. Make him 8 feet tall. Thick ass up by 4.6%. Double his hands. Shrink his chest. Double his neck length. Perfect. That's what I want. Anyways. All right, so Russia is totally opposed. Trump can't decide what he's doing, and we're just cooked. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov on Wednesday emphasized that the planned Putin-Trump summit needs to be thoroughly prepared. No one wants to waste time, neither President Trump nor President Putin, Peskov told reporters. These are the two presidents who are accustomed to working efficiently with high productivity, but effectiveness always requires preparation. Oh yeah, they're preparing. They're preparing. Wait, is this? What is this? Wait. Tattoo recognized a Nazi symbol? Did he? Wait. I know he had like crazy calls, but I want to see was farmer the background check about the new tattoo, but offered to send the AP a photo later. Wednesday. Going to tattoo place. Show me the tattoo. Why do you not have an image of the tattoo? Ram Plattner Nazi tattoo. I don't care about my spelling, okay? Images. Oh, this thing? Is it like the skull or whatever? It's not very HD. It's not a Nazi system. It's a Jerusalem cross. It's current tattoo calling for a potent crusade. Just be a moderate at this point. I'm just like a center-left lib. Can I not just be a center-left lib? Oh. I mean, to be fair, if it wasn't Nazi adjacent, it would be a baller tattoo. But because the Nazis used it, it's not cool. No, it's not. It's a guy running for Senate in Maine. Listen, I don't disagree. SS Death's... Wait, this is the Death's Head insignia? No, it's not. Holy fuck, it is. No. Wait, really? Why does... Jesus Christ. I mean, to be fair, there is a world, and I'm not saying it's likely, but potentially, there is a world in which he just saw the tattoo. Like if I Google like skull tattoos, chances of it coming up are not zero. And if I liked it, I would get a tattoo of that if I didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo. Like there is a world in which it's like a mistake or something. Is it likely? I don't know. I don't know him. I don't really know much about his messaging or anything, but I'm like, it could be bad. It could be good. He's like a woke leftist guy now. So like maybe he may listen. It's like the whole Elon salute. He isn't. No. Elon Musk is a Nazi. Have you seen? You need to do a deep dive on Elon Musk. Okay, he's made some terrible he's made some horrific racist statements. When he's talked about the ADF in Germany and how much he loves them, how much he needs to protect German culture. He grew up in South. To clarify, he is not Elon Musk. I give no credit to. Elon Musk is racist, and he is as close as you can be to a neo-Nazi without being a neo-Nazi because you're too dumb to actually understand what that means. This guy, he very well may have been a Nazi. I don't know. But he strikes me as woke now, but I could very well be wrong, and he could be like a secret Nazi invading the left. I don't know. But, listen, there's a whole bunch of candidates. If he wins, he wins. If he doesn't win, he doesn't win. Okay. What was I reading? It was just the nuclear stuff, which is to say that there will be no peace. There will be no peace. There will be no peace, my brothers. There will be zero peace. Interim leader going like Hassan Piker. Yeah, he's a communist. He's a radical tanky who wants to put capitalists in like re-education camps. Dude, we've got crime. Wouldn't that be funny if you just didn't know and he wins and he is just woke? That's what I'm saying. That's, in my opinion, I think that's more likely, but I don't know. I can't speak on it and be like, oh, it's definitely this. He hates capitalism Hassan Piker lives like the most consumerist capitalist lifestyle while being like he is a champagne socialist. Like, people are like, oh, you criticize him for buying a house. You criticize him for, like, he wears a new outfit every day. He's got like a $10,000 dog that like sits in the corner as like a piece of like art for him. He has a multi-million-dollar house for his parents who aren't even there. He's a nepo baby who grew up in wealth, and like, I'm just jealous. I'm jealous. It's like the whole Kamala Harris stuff. Yeah. Like, Hassan Piker he's so unserious. It's just not even, like, he's not even intelligent. Like, it takes me 0 seconds to be smarter than Hassan Piker at any given moment on any given issue. How dare you celebrate? Listen, what Kamala Harris did in 2020 elections, like, was very cringe, because she went like woke, because woke was in. Like, she was a politician trying to do politics, so she was like, oh, I'll go the woke route. And it didn't work. And then she moderated, as a politician should do, because you would want your politicians to change what they're doing based on what the people want, right? So I would say that Kamala Harris being woke and then not being woke is a good sign for her, or it was. We'll see if that leads to anything. She was riding the hype train. I mean, yeah, well, you kind of had to ride the hype train. Like, after Biden dropped out, it was like Kamala or nothing. Kamala was annoying because she wasted time on Wise Guys. No, I don't think she did. I think that she probably should have gone harder on white guys for Kamala, and I think if she'd gone 100% on that, she would have won. 100%. I think if she'd done whiteface and like been like, I'm a cracker, and then like run around, I think she would have won. 100%. Should have gone all in. She needs to not be woke. I mean, listen, in the last election, in the 24, she was not woke, okay? Not at all. She would have won if she doubled down on woke. No, I'm not going to say that. You can't be both, though. She had no chance of winning the election. I mean, she got 75 million votes. That's not no chance. Like, what do you mean no chance of winning the election? That's not even a helpful phrase. Yeah, so the lady who lost the election, she actually had no chance of winning that election, because if you look at the past, she lost, and therefore she had no chance of winning. Like, what a dumb phrase. What a dumb, stupid phrase. You don't know anything until it's happened, okay? Come on. Actually, I don't care about this. Anyways, Trump corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, big surprise. Donald Trump is corrupt. Here because she's a black woman. True. She gets on stage and she's like, I'm black. Vote for me. Thank you. BLM. And then she'd win in a landslide. She wouldn't even need a campaign.
The government owes him a lot of money for prior Justice Department investigations into his actions. He also has President.
Okay, so before we do this, the one thing I would like to point out real quick is that Donald Trump committed a whole bunch of crimes during January 6th and is now suing the DOJ, which works for him, and the guy he's technically, the people that he's suing, the guy in charge, is his personal lawyer. And he's suing for like $280 million. It's because Biden was so disliked. No, it's not. It's not because Biden was so disliked. It's because inflation. The polls show it. Global elections show it, okay? There is no, like it is an incredibly easy analysis of why Kamala lost, which is inflation. People want numbers to go down, and they didn't. So they voted for the other candidate. That was it. And because people are stupid and they have zero memory of the past, none of them remembered how stupid and retarded Donald Trump was in his first term and in COVID. Okay? Very easy. Like, any other excuse for the election is incredibly brain dead. That would actually be based if the first black president was a woman. The second could have been. There's also the yes, but it wasn't. No. I'm describing the number one thing. Okay, I'm not describing all these other things. Okay, because yeah, technically every other policy is going to have some level of support to it. But no, immigration was not like the number two issue. It was inflation, high prices, gas prices, and then maybe immigration. Okay, and nobody actually cares about immigration. Okay, it's the Republican Party made people care about it by messaging on it all the time. Okay, nobody actually cares. Like, I live in California, dog. What horrible, horrific things are happening because of illegal immigrants in California? Like, come on, like these are joke problems that are not real. Like, these people are delusional when they describe like, oh, the mass immigration. Like, oh no, people, like, it's so stupid. It's just such a, like, don't lean into the Republican talking points. UK immigration. Yeah, because your country is the size of a fucking grape, dude. So yeah, immigration is going to be a massive problem for you because you guys aren't able to integrate well. Like, and you're not able to integrate well, probably because, I don't know, all the racists are in charge. I don't know.
Donald Trump says the federal government owes him a lot of money for prior Justice Department investigations.
The federal government owes him money because of crimes he committed. I hate him. He's so stupid.
Into his actions. He also has insisted that he would have had the ultimate say on any payout because any decision will, quote, have to go across my desk.
All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity. With the country, it's interesting.
Wait, then why sue? Why sue? Why not just give the money to charity directly? Why do you sue at all?
Interesting, because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, that decision would have to go across my desk. And it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages?
His comments are in response to questions about a New York Times story that said he filed claims before being reelected, seeking roughly $230 million. One of the claims seeks compensatory and punitive damage.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about, bro. This is what I'm talking about. It's just, he's the ultimate victim. Like, how can you be a Republican and be like, we're the strong men, and then like, oh, I thought this like bald guy was Stephen Miller. I was like, why is he just like standing there like a little goblin? See, I have some historical hate, but now people from the UK criticize and make racist comments in my country. Drumble will run for office. I've thought about it. I would be an incredible politician. I'd run so hard and so fast. I'd be sprinting circles, let me tell you. People say if you answer, you can't win. People say if you swear, you can't win. I don't think it's about swearing. I think it's more so just like it's the way you do it. It's more so the representation of like how much you come across as like a normal person. Where like there have been times that people swear and it's like cringe, and then there are times where you swear and it's like that feels real. It's all about context. It's very nuanced, I think. Listen, UK, stop being racist and you'll stop having immigration problems, because then people can just come in and be friends.
Images over the search of his Mar-a-Lago estate and the resulting case alleging he hoarded.
Oh god, I hate him so much. He's so stupid, dude. How do Republicans look at any of this? Like they I'm just gonna keep repeating this, but it's like they're so stupid. They just don't understand how any of this works. Like, look at this photo alone. This photo should be enough to throw Trump in jail for the rest of his life. Like, come on, dude.
Classified documents and thwarted government efforts to retrieve them. The Times said the other claim seeks damages related to the long-concluded investigation into potential ties between Russia and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign.
Which they did. Nobody reads, dude. Are you telling me nobody read the Mueller report? Nobody read the Steele dossier? Like, people went to jail. Why did Donald Trump have to pardon an insane amount of people from his like election campaign in 2016? Why did he have to do that? What crimes were committed by Roger Stone? Oh, Russia collusion. A whole bunch of people who worked directly for him working with Russians. Like, this is facts. What are we describing here? Dude, mainstream media they try so hard to be like hyper partisan or like hyper middle ground, middle centrist, and be like, look, we're not partisan, but when they do that, they're like, we don't have TDS. You need to have TDS. You need to have TDS because it's so blatantly obvious. Like, ugh, cringe. Okay, listen. We've got some videos. First things first. That's right. The government is shut down, and Donald Trump is giving an ultimatum. What is that ultimatum? It's a stupid one. It's a real stupid one. What is this? The whole issue in the UK is random illegal immigrants that get free hotel rooms and free phones while we were in the cost of living crisis. Dude, that's so stupid that you would say that, because that's literally the exact same complaint that conservatives in America have, okay? I don't want to hear about your crybaby, oh, they get free hotel rooms and free phones. I guarantee you that's law. Guess what you have to do? You have to change the law. Don't just hate immigrants, okay? That's your law, dude. Like, that's your own fault. It's the law. It's not right or wrong. It's just the law. You don't have to like it, but it's not moral or immoral. Like, what are you describing here? You're like, oh, I can't believe the government is doing the thing that it was elected to do. Ah, how dare they? Like, what? It's not worth it. Like if you have an issue with it, vote for people who will fix your housing problems. Okay? Them getting free hotel rooms and free phones isn't a direct negative on you. Okay? Because guess what? The government giving people something and people having houses are entirely different categories. So to even remotely like put in your brain, the illegal immigrants got a hotel room and my friend doesn't have a house. It's the illegal immigrants' fault that my friend doesn't have a house. Like, what are you describing? What does that even mean? Like, it's just take 30 seconds. Like, before you start getting all emotional about, oh, this and that, like, do some reading. Go read the laws. Go figure out the reality of the situation, okay? That's all I want, is I want you to just do some Googling, do a little bit of research, read some articles, and just like learn what's going on. Don't just complain about people getting stuff because you don't know anything. You're not describing a real situation.
The Senate is set to vote for a 12th time to reopen the government today as we enter day 22 of the shutdown. That makes it the second longest in U.S. history.
I don't care about what you describe to be common sense, okay? Because it's not common sense because you don't actually know anything. The fact that you bring up the fact that immigrants are getting a hotel room and a phone and then saying that's the reason that we're in a cost of living crisis and people don't have homes, like, the EU exists. Like, there is such a, it's such like a hyper nuanced situation, and you're just like pretending like, oh, it's just common sense. Like, no, it's not. You just don't know anything. And instead of understanding that and then learning, you just go, here's my reason. This is my outcome. And since this isn't the way I like it, it's just common sense. Just draw, like instead of like traveling through the maze and learning and growing, you're like, I'm going to draw a straight line. And just like the reason the energy cost from the war. Oh, that's the only reason? Like just notice what you're doing here. You start off by saying, oh, it's just common sense. And then you say, it's not the reason, it's a factor. And then you're like, the reason is the energy cost from the war. Like you are jumping through hoops to keep your common sense straight line when you need to accept that you're incorrect and that you need to be nuanced, because you not being nuanced is going to be a problem. Like, for your whole life, it's just bad to exist as a human being without the ability to like be nuanced, just generally. So just like read some books, learn about it. I don't want you, because you don't have a real opinion on this. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're describing, but the way you're describing it is the exact same way a conservative in America talks about politics, which is to say zero nuance, doesn't actually know anything, is just like doing the talking points. It's boring. You're boring me. Don't be boring. Go learn something and then come back, and then we can have a conversation about it.
President Trump met with Republican lawmakers yesterday, rejecting Democrats' calls for a meeting of their own. Listen.
I would like to meet with both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House with more for us this morning. Good morning, Natalie. I wonder what the president...
What an odd sentence. Can we just listen to that? Let's just listen to this again, and let's just think through what's being said here.
Listen.
I would like to meet with.
Yes, I've called your argument dumb because you're not quoting anything, you're not saying anything, you're just saying energy, a factor. It's just like you're just throwing things out, and there's nothing for me to address because you haven't actually said anything. Like that's like me being like, so listen, my carpet is brown, but like it's common sense that it should be white. Like obviously, like because it's brown and that's causing problems with like my health. And so it should be white. Like it's like, okay, what does any of that have to do with any of it? No, it doesn't make any sense is the point. Is you're just saying a whole bunch of things and then saying they're linked, but you have zero evidence. Thanks for the follow, bud. Appreciate it.
With both of them, but I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open.
I will only meet if they let the country. What a stupid way to do that. Be like, so, you know, I'll negotiate with you after we do. You have to negotiate first. Like, I thought this guy was the deal maker. Isn't Trump the deal maker? Why is the deal maker so stupid? Why is he not making a deal? That's what I want to know. Where's the deal making?
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House with more for us this morning. Good morning, Natalie. I wonder what the president gains by taking this position because many federal workers are stretching their dollars right now, bracing for no paycheck this Friday.
That's right, Errol, but both sides really think that they are winning in terms of messaging regarding this shutdown. Both sides so dug in. That's why, there's really no clear indicator of when this is going to end. As you know, Senate Republicans were over here at the White House yesterday for lunch, and they're really united in their messaging that Democratic lawmakers have to reopen the government before having this larger negotiation over health care subsidies, which is what Democrats have been fighting for. Leader Schumer and Jeffries over in Congress have asked the president for a meeting before he heads overseas later this week. But again, the president saying he's not going to be, quote, extorted by Democrats, that they have to vote for a short term.
Whenever a British say something bad about India, it's like a terrorist saying the people are weak, and that's why they died. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I know Britain and India don't really have the best relationship historically, but maybe it's time for them to make up and kiss. Maybe it's time for them to be friends again. No more of this racism. No more. Maybe a little bit more hugs. Maybe a little bit more romance. Maybe a steak dinner, some red wine. Get them back in the same room. Get them kissing again.
Term funding measure before speaking to them about health care. Schumer, meanwhile, flagging the date November 1st. That's when he warns that health care premiums could increase substantially if no action is taken on the issue of health care before the end of the month. So again, we are in this holding pattern. Major Garrett on the takeout last night spoke to former Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy about this shutdown. Take a listen.
We have never shut the government down over a continuing resolution, which to your viewers, which are highly educated political people, that simply means keep government exactly as it is.
Okay, so what's your opinion on illegal immigration? I mean, it might be bad. Like, I would need to see like the output of it. Like illegal immigration, I'm like, I don't care really. I'm like, okay, somebody crosses the border. Okay, like if they come in and they, start working in a field or like, I don't know, just like doing a job, they're paying their taxes. I don't care. Like, yeah, if you're an illegal immigrant, you're coming here and you're like murdering someone or like you're a gang member, like, and your intent is like to be like a drug dealer like that. Yeah, that would be bad and we shouldn't do that. But like generally the concept of like someone coming across the border, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. People want to come here to work. We need labor. They want to work. That's a good deal for everyone.
So there are no
How does an illegal immigrant pay taxes when they get their paycheck? What? Do you not know this? Illegal immigrants pay tax. Let's do a Google. How much do illegal immigrants in the USA pay in taxes each year? Let's just do a look. Undocumented immigrants paid $96.7 billion in federal, state, and local taxes in 2022. Most of that amount, $59.4 billion, was paid to the federal government, while the remaining $37.3 billion was paid to state and local governments. Like, you know, like, look, here's what I'll do. I'll link this in the chat for y'all. I'll link it in chat. Okay, you can read it yourself.
Advantages to anybody else, but the reason why they shut down, purely political. It's kind of the reverse where Republicans were in 2013. You've got a Republican in the White House for a second term, so Democrats are upset.
But if they're illegal, surely they would be detained? Detained where? When? Why? Like, why would we just going around detaining random people for crossing a border? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, you come across the border? Okay, sure. Like, it would be good if we could, realistically, the solution to the illegal immigration, crisis that has happened in America is mass amnesty. That's easy, super easy. Like, I don't know what that would look like exactly, but mass amnesty to get these people to just, like, economically, everything stays the same, but now they're paying taxes, but then they're also contributing to Social Security, they're contributing to healthcare. Like, it would be a net positive for mass immunity for them. Because they're illegal, they have no background check, they could be anybody. Yeah, being anybody is not the problem. I don't care who someone is. I just need them to not be committing crimes, and statistically, most of them are not committing crimes.
So
like, I'm not gonna be scared of all brown people because one brown person does something bad, right? Like, that is racism, right? It's like, man, that one brown guy is a gang member. That must mean every illegal brown guy is a gang member. Like, you're a drooling fool if that's what you believe.
A 12th vote is expected later today on the Republican short-term funding measure, but again, no signs.
They're all committing crimes. It's a... You don't even understand the basics. Why do you have opinions on these things when you know nothing? I don't understand this. They're all committing crimes because they're illegal immigrants. That's a crime. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the crime of coming across a border, okay? Because there's no negative or positive output from walking across a line, okay? The negative or positive output comes from what they do once they're there. And what I'm saying is, if they're committing a crime, yeah, they should probably leave. Get them out. I'd prefer that. But if they're here and they're not committing crimes and they're working and they're sending money to their families and they're helping the economy by spending the money they earn, like, that's a net positive for America. And I would like them here.
Of movement on either side. One new development, though, Errol, is that lawmakers could
enter legally? Yeah, like, I'd prefer to just I would prefer for there to be a big door. So let's do Trump's wall, right? Let's do a big wall, and then we just do a big door. And we just let everyone so instead of crossing the border randomly all over the place, we all just get them in one spot. That's all I want.
soon be voting on dueling measures.
And that door could be in Texas, could be Arizona, could be California. You know, it could be, or is it New Mexico on the border? Wait, what are the border states? I feel like I've like blanked on this. Border states are, it is Arizona. Okay, it's Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. Yeah, put like one door on the border to each state, and then bing, bang, boom. No more illegal immigrants.
Federal employees. Republicans are pushing forward a bill that would pay essential workers, teeing up a vote as early as this week. Democrats, they're writing their own version to pay all federal workers, including those furloughed. This comes as a number of federal workers are now turning to food banks. That's what we saw here in Washington, D.C. yesterday.
Yeah, and we'll have more on that later this hour. Natalie Brand, thank you very much for those updates.
Queen, the reaction to our Graham Platter interview, I don't care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next video.
Trump's controversial pick to lead the
This guy, This guy's we've got, what a surprise. Okay, listen, Graham Plattner might have been a Nazi in the past. I don't know, but he could have, certainly possible. This guy, currently a Nazi, appointed by Trump to have a White House position? What is it with Donald Trump and Nazis? Why does he have a lot of Nazis? Why are there so many Nazis in the Republican Party? And why do they all have positions of power? Seems odd. Like, I hesitate to call Trump a Nazi because ideologically he's too stupid to know what a Nazi is. But, like, he seems to really like surrounding himself with Nazis. Why is that? I'm just asking questions. Does anybody know why Donald Trump loves Nazis?
Trump's controversial pick to lead the Office of Special Counsel dropping out. Paul Ingrassia posting moments ago, quote, "I will be withdrawing myself because unfortunately I do not have enough Republican votes at this time." Well, the reason for that is reporting from K-File, who first reported here out
Dude,
front.
he even looks like a Nazi, dude. Are you crazy? Like, this is really how you like, if you're a Nazi, could you at least try to like hide that you're a Nazi? Like, what is this cringe?
That Ingrassia had a long record of making extreme statements, including that straight white men are the most intelligent demographic group. He also shared a 9/11 conspiracy video, which claimed the United States government planned the attacks or let them happen. Politico last night, on the heels of K-File's reporting, published text messages in which Ingrassia allegedly said that he had a Nazi streak.
It's good that he says it. It's good that out loud he just is able to be like, yeah, I'm just like a Nazi occasionally.
And there's a lot more where this came from. Another stated Martin Luther King Jr. Day should be ended and tossed into the seventh circle of hell where it belongs. That's a quote. Andrew.
The seventh circle of hell? Isn't that the top one? Doesn't it start at like the big seventh ring and then go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? Or am I crazy? Why would you, if it's so horrible, why are you going in like the least like terrible circle? What's going on? Nazis, man. They're stupid. They're dumb.
Andrew Kaczynski is out front now. And Andrew, obviously this did all start with your reporting on Paul Ingrassia.
Oh, I thought this was Paul Ingrassia. Which also, Paul Ingrassia, you are as Latin as they come, dog. Like, what? How are you a Nazi? Like, the Nazis would put you in the camps, dude.
Statements that he had made in the past. Now he's withdrawing his nomination because Republicans made it clear, no way, they've had enough. How did we get here?
Well, Aaron, we had already covered Paul Ingrassia's long history of extreme and conspiratorial statements even before these new racist texts surfaced. His podcast Twitter account called for martial law to keep Donald.
In 2020, time for real Donald Trump to declare martial law. Dude, the fascists, man. The fascists are apparently everywhere, and these people really need to, like, there needs to be, like, military tribunals. I think I've said it before, but there need to be military tribunals for these people. They are committing crimes day to day, and there needs to be punishment, because if there isn't, they're going to come back.
Donald Trump in power after the 2020 election. He shared 9/11 truther content on 9/11. He defended conspiracy theorist Alex Jones after the Sandy Hook verdict, writing, quote, "We all stand with Alex Jones," in all caps. He described straight white men as the most intelligent demographic group, called the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel a psyop meant to distract from Columbus Day, whatever that means. Yeah. He also attended a rally for white nationalist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. He then later claimed he just stumped.
We should be speaking like this about every single person in the White House. Like this sort of like, these people are evil and crazy? Like just pointing it out constantly should be the way we treat the entire, like, White House right now. The entire Republican Party, in fact. Like,
stumbled upon this and it was an accident. But he also publicly defended Fuentes' right to post online. Now, the podcast that he mentioned he co-hosted called for secession after Trump's defeat in 2020 if their legal efforts to overturn the 2020 election failed. He also attacked Trump's opponents in harsh and sometimes racially charged terms, referring to former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley as an, quote, insufferable bitch.
What is this fit? It's like the bow tie with, like, the overcoat. Like, is this a tux? Yeah, it's a tux with the This is, dude, fascists have no drip. These are dripless people.
He mocked her full name in racist taunts. He also attacked Ron DeSantis, who also ran against Trump in 2024, and his wife and his spokeswoman, Christina Pushaw. He called them both harlots. So this was really, honestly, that's just a small portion of what we covered. As you know, wild as all that was.
It is stunning to think that all of that could have come from one person, and that anybody who had that particular record could have gotten as far, frankly, as he did in this process.
That was so interesting about the text is it very much matches the public statement.
Yes, right. I mean, that is.
If anybody ever tells you to vote for a Republican, tell them that Republicans are currently Nazis, and you will not vote for Republicans until the Nazis are purged from the party. Because the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, and this one's very important, actually. This one is something I think that is worth pointing out, is that the Republican Party has Nazis and fascists in it, and they vote for the candidates, and they advocate for them, and they say, this is what we need. We need to vote for the candidates. And they vote, and they support it, and they push for it, and they do all the political things. But then, when you look at the left, when you look at the Democratic Party, there are radicals in that party, for sure. The communists, the socialists, like these more far left groups. And you can differentiate between the left and the right by noticing that the right always supports the candidate, all of them. The Klan supports them, the Hitler Youth, like the neo-Nazis, like they all support Donald Trump, they all vote for him, and they all advocate for him. When you looked at Kamala Harris in this last election, everybody on the far left was like, nope, don't vote for her. Don't do it. Like, we know for a fact that the left, like the more radical left, didn't vote for the candidate because they advocated to not vote for the candidate the entire time she was running, the entire time Joe Biden was running as well. Like that's just the reality of the situation, which is to say that if you're voting for Donald Trump, you are agreeing with fascists and Nazis, and if you vote for Kamala Harris, you're not agreeing with communists. So based. Anyways, video.
Is 100% true. So now he is being forced to step aside, withdraw his nomination. But the White House withdrew another nominee that you had reported on about a week ago, right after your reporting as well. This was Trump's pick to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a crucial job, right? Because he had fired the prior person, career bureaucrat, said the numbers are rigged, picked his own person, E.J. Antoni, and had to pull that.
Well, that's right. E.J. Antoni's nomination got pulled. Some people remember we did that segment on the show. He had shared sexually graphic comments about Kamala Harris. Previously been reported that he was at the January 6th protest at the Capitol. They've had a number of these nominees, like Ed Martin, who we also talked about on here, who they nominated, and also had to withdraw his nomination. It's been interesting to see because they've been, these are some of the nominees they have gotten through. We see nominees they've gotten through, but at least in some of these examples, these people are being too extreme for even the Republicans who are going along with Trump.
And again, just to point out, though, the vetting that should happen before anyone gets to that point would be to look at this stuff. But that vetting's happening here from you.
Yes, but is Paul Ingrassi, he was getting nominated. I mean, these statements are also sort of part of why he's nominated. He was so pro-Trump in 2024. He was on, what were his credentials, right? He just had graduated from college, just passed the bar. His only credential to be nominated for a position like this was that he was such a pro-Trump commentator.
All right. Andrew Kaczynski of K-File, thank you very much.
Sorry, sending a text. This.
When you look at,
we will watch this. Hold up, you guys watch this.
Some of these interactions between ICE agents and the public, frankly, it's not entirely surprising that that's what's happening as they try to rush these people through the process of getting certified to be on the streets.
Okay, well, in all honesty, I'm athletically allergic. Could not pass the presidential exam when I was in school, could not do a pull-up for a nanosecond. That being said, look, I think this lack of not only the athletic aspect, but also the civics aspect is showing in the interactions we are seeing. There have been at least 170 U.S. citizens that have been detained by ICE. We have seen people get scooped up because they're black in Chicago, U.S. citizen blacks, put into U-Haul trucks, in the back of U-Haul trucks. We have seen teenagers pinned to the ground. We know that there have been more deaths in ICE custody in the last few months than there were in the last 4 years. So, I would hope that even folks who...
If the Republican Party is so, like, America first, supposedly, they should have massive problems with American citizens being detained by ICE. If you really cared about American citizens, if that was something you actually cared about and that's why you were doing all this, you would never let a single American be mistaken for a legal criminal alien, right? You wouldn't do that because you care so much. The only reason that you would defend accidentally, detaining these American citizens for days on end in horrible conditions is if you didn't actually do any of this because you care about America, but because you just hate brown people. That one is an obvious answer.
Who are in favor of deporting everybody, I would hope that there would be some agreement that there needs to be rights, that there needs to be a process, that people need to be allowed to show ID, that they can't just be scooped up in that way and have their rights violated. It's just inhumane what we are seeing in the streets of America.
Or at least that the standards shouldn't be lowered just to meet a quota.
Okay, I just have to respond to this. If you
Dude, it's so cringe. They can't even pass to get into ICE. Because it's all like fat big guys. It's all like, look. Go to images. Like, this guy got into ICE. Do you know how incompetent of an administration you have to somehow get this guy into ICE? This guy couldn't be a cop. There's no way. You couldn't pass basic training to be a cop looking like this. You can't run fast enough. You can't climb the wall. You can't climb the chain link fence. Like, dog, you could barely get in the car. Like, this is America's finest? Like, it's so stupid.
are housing or living with somebody in MS-13 or a gang member, it is very possible that you could get
Oh, she's taking the Republican seat. Ew.
swept up in that. That is just a reality.
Listen, the vast majority...
That is just... This is what I talk about when I was describing to Too Easy earlier, which is like it's the brain dead, thoughtless, yeah, obviously this, therefore that. Like the total lack of nuance is deeply foolish.
Majority of the people who have been detained do not have criminal records. 75%.
If you're living with a gang member, you got...
If you're living with it, what do you mean living in what sense? Living like what? I can live with a gang member. What if I don't know they're in a gang? Like, what are we describing here? You're delusional.
I don't know, that's a
That's
possibility.
the people that were scooped up in this residential building in the middle of the night. You're just making things up. Thank
you. This is how we should be treating these people. Just calling them foolish and telling them they're making things up, because they are. They live in a fantasy land, and they are delusional, and they need to be told that every day for the rest of their lives until they either die of old age or change their minds and realize they were stupid, which is kind of the goal. The goal would be to change their minds. And the first thing you have to do is just not even allow them to speak, because them speaking doesn't help them in any way. They need to be told, they need to be sat in a chair, and they need to just be informed. Like, they need to just, like, their minds need to be shattered because they've formed, like, a Trump shell around their mind where reality cannot enter. Only the words of God Trump. And so we must force them to understand through speaking and calling them stupid and telling them, silence, a white man is speaking. You must listen to me while I inform you of how stupid you are.
You're making things up. Most of the people that have been detained do not have any criminal records or ties to gangs.
Look, I'm sure you can find an example or two of this, but we also know the situations for a lot of these 170 Americans, and some of them were just happened to be in the same location.
Remember, there were literal Army veterans who were, like, in Afghanistan who were detained by ICE. Okay, I don't want to hear nothing from a single Republican about any of this. It's so blatantly stupid. It's so blatantly incompetent. It's a waste of time that people actually have to have an argument about whether ICE is doing a good job. They're obviously not. They're clearly not. They're arresting U.S. citizens. If ICE was going into all these cities and only sweeping up gang members, like literal, like if there are Tren de Aragua members in Chicago, there aren't, by the way, but if there were, and they could sweep them all up and then say, hey, here's all the Tren de Aragua members, we'll perp walk them, we will show you all of the forms, like there are ways to do this that you can easily prove, right? Like if you know these are Tren de Aragua members with 100% certainty, you have evidence, and if you have evidence, you should just show the evidence, right? Because, we have laws. And one of those is Strasser. How you doing, buddy?
As other people who might have been targeted by ICE and were still scooped up.
The teenage black boy I was referring to was in a CVS.
To Anna Navarro's point, that apartment building that they raided a couple of weeks ago that housed, frankly, mostly Americans, they only identified 2.
Look at her. She's not even listening. You know what she's doing? She's coming up with her next talking point.
Alleged Tren de Aragua members. The rest of the people who were arrested, including American citizens.
Have you seen the video of Trump using AI to respond to his infamous protesters who dare to criticize him? I have. I don't know. It's it's very weak of him. Like, Donald Trump is so weak that he can't even handle protest. He has to post videos and cry about how they all hate America. It's very delusional to think that by disliking Trump you hate America, right? It's stupid. It's just blatantly stupid on its face. You don't even need to think about it.
They're not gang members, so that's also happening.
Okay,
but I was asking you about the standards, because the issue at hand here is that the standards are not being met, and B, in some cases, are being slightly lowered to allow more people to get through this process.
Dude, ICE is doing DEI. Hell yeah. Actually, I didn't think about that, but you're right. ICE is doing DEI.
Because they have to meet a quota. And when you're talking about law enforcement, is that really what we should be doing?
No, absolutely not. And unfortunately, this is not really an ICE problem. This is a problem across the board. I think as many as 80% of police officers are overweight, and so we've seen standards just...
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so it's a Biden problem. It's a Biden problem. Oh, okay, so who's currently the president, though, overseeing ICE? Who's done the expansion of ICE? Who's requiring these? We're not just gonna... Right now, the United States is finally turning away delinquent immigrants. The immigration police are doing a good job. Are they doing a good job by arresting 170 American citizens and detaining them for days on end? Arresting Iraq veterans? Is that good? Because in my mind, right, if I love America so much, I wouldn't even dare make the mistake of arresting one American citizen, right? Like ICE, in my mind, could be successful, but they can't because they're arresting American citizens. They've done it a bunch of times. We know that. And I consider them a failure because one would be too many. One would be one too many.
Decrease across the board. Now, my understanding is that they aren't decreasing the standards.
Is this Cornel West? What a crazy looking dude.
They're just saying that a lot of people are failing, and I think that's okay, right? They have a lot of people who are interested in joining. Not all.
Yeah, ICE has a lot of people. She's such a drooling fool, dude. It's so lame.
Of them are going to meet the criteria, and that's the reality.
And that's the reality. You just don't understand she's so dumb.
A lot of people are joining because a lot of people need jobs. A lot of people are failing because we don't teach civic in schools, and that's a problem. And
they're offering $50,000 bonuses.
A lot of people are taking the job because there's student loan forgiveness. And I hope they don't lower the standard, because the last I checked, it was the DEI candidates that needed the standard lowered. But now it seems like the people who want to work for ICE might get their standards. Let's just see how this all plays out.
This is not what's happening.
Queen, no, you should point that out and be like, yeah, you're doing DEI right now. I thought DEI was over. I thought woke was dead.
They're failing. The system is working. They have fitness standards. They have standards for civics. If you fail the standards, you don't get in. So the story is that you have a system in place designed to weed people out who shouldn't be in, and it's working. That's a good thing.
I will say this. So here's what we know, at least for now. In February, the requirements were this: 32 sit-ups in a minute or less, 22 push-ups in a minute or less, 220-yard sprint, 1.5-mile run. Now.
Oh, it's the same as. Oh, it's the same as the cops. Oh wait, no, this one is the same. But yeah, this is. If you can't do this, like you're cooked.
The standard is 15 push-ups as opposed to 22.
Oh.
So it's still 32 sit-ups, 1.5 miles, and slightly less time.
Wait, did they get rid of the times? You just have to do 15 push-ups? Oh.
Than before. So there's been a slight adjustment. Who knows why? You need to do.
Wait, no, stop, dude. Oh, dude, stop with the who knows why. We know why, because they need people, and they're willing to drop their standards because they need people more than they care about those people meeting standards.
But 7 fewer push-ups than before, but
so the standards were lowered.
You still have to
Just own it. Stop with the woke, with like the woke centrist, like no, just own it. DEI is back and ICE is doing it.
It appears to be the case.
So they lowered the standard.
But standard's still declining.
I also think, I mean, to me, also the civics part is huge, because knowing people's rights in this country is part of what you need to know if you're going to be violating.
We already know that they're breaking all the civics laws. We already know that. We've seen them do it on video multiple times. They've been doing it all over the country. What do you mean? Fortunately, King Trump is saving the USA with the money from the customs duties. He will finally be able to lower Americans' taxes. Why would we want to lower Americans' taxes? Our goal is to pay off the national debt, right? Which means the federal government needs more income, which means that you should be doing the tariffs, and then you should also raise taxes on everybody, right? That would be the most effective direct line to paying off the debt. And if he's not doing that, he doesn't actually care, obviously.
Them potentially as a law enforcement officer, or at least you have the power to do that.
But there was another claim tucked into that report, which is...
Yes, but he clearly doesn't actually care about the national debt. Because you can't do both. You cannot lower the national debt and lower taxes. Those things don't correlate.
The people themselves are misrepresenting themselves. Say they're lying. See, that's a decline of standards too. It's a matter of character. It's a matter of soul craft. So it's not just you got to decline of standards across the board.
That's a
and
video
too
game.
often you want to scapegoat the most vulnerable. It must be the black folk and brown folk responsible for the decline of standards. No, get off the crack pipe. That's not true at all. What's really true is the decline of standards across the board, and people acting as if they're so athletically on the cutting edge, and when it's time to take the test, they can't pass it.
And if you lie on your application, perhaps you lie on the job.
Well, just today there was an ICE police officer whose weapon discharged and injured a U.S. Marshal and the suspect because they were using the service weapon to bang on the window of an...
Dude, they're so stupid. They're so stupid. And they're going to, Trump is going to lose everything because he's so insistent on this. And it's just negatively, Americans are, ICE, I think polling is, ICE is at, negative $1 billion %. Nobody likes ICE.
Suspect. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these are the types of things that just seem...
I don't want my taxes to be lowered. That's not helpful. Don't just lower my taxes because you can. That's pointless.
Is there proper training happening here when it comes to ICE?
There's not. We've all seen it. And there should be.
You definitively state that they're not being properly trained. Do you know that?
They're shooting dogs.
We know, they're shooting dogs. They are illegally detaining American citizens. They are, apparently injuring U.S. Marshals. We see example after example of incompetence, which means that clearly the training is not working. Obviously. Dude, Scott Jennings is so stupid. He's nobody should even speak to him. Everyone should just speak over him, and he should just be crying in the corner, okay? The fact that he has a voice on this panel at all is so stupid.
Dogs. They're shooting dogs in that have been locked in people's bathrooms. They're abandoning small children alone in cars while they...
Why?
No, it's not false. Look it up. Don't just say false.
Abandoning small children. They turned the children over to HHS.
There were actually small children abandoned in a highway in a car in Cicero, Illinois.
You make these sweeping statements that they're not training.
Would you like me
they're
to
not
get
training ICE.
with examples of what is happening?
Yes. Of course they go through training. The point is the training isn't working, dum-dum.
Of course they're training them.
Well, they're training them, then they're not learning this stuff. They're definitely
Based.
violating human rights.
Based.
Well, I disagree with you.
Okay,
Yes, but you're
well,
wrong, and you're
Well, look,
delusional, and you should bully him, please. They're too nice. They're too nice to him. They need to bully him. Adam Mockler, whenever he gets on here, is like the GOAT, okay? Because he bullies Scott so well, and he makes him look cucked.
Scott, she had a specific example.
It
sounds like you were unfamiliar with it.
I'm not aware of her example. Here's what I know.
Okay, so
Dude, I'm not aware. Republicans, dude. I'm not aware of it. Okay, you're not aware of it, so you just accept you're wrong and move on. Just accept that ICE is untrained and move on. Shift your opinion, right? Like, I'm unaware. Being unaware of something and then learning something new means you should be incorporating it into your thought process, not being like, probably not true, and then moving on.
Under Joe Biden, they didn't enforce federal immigration law. Now we do. We're having hundreds of thousands of interactions.
My point is that you
things
just
will
said,
happen, but she said they are not training them.
We know they're not. We know they're not training them. We know that. We know they've dropped the standards. We know that they're not effective. We know that they are unable to do their job legally. Like, come on, like.
Do you think that trained
she was saying a specific example, and you said it was false. Don't.
She said,
her first. He's such a crybaby, dude.
Acknowledge that
Republicans cannot stop crying. Anyways,
Forcing.
ladies and gentlemen, the speaker of the House. Okay. What was I doing? Sorry, real quick. I've got to check some of this junk out and make sure we're Bing chilling. Are we Bing chilling? We are Bing chilling. Hell yeah. Let's Bing chilling all the way. Okay. There we go.
Speaker Johnson's hand on the Epstein investigation. In a major escalation tonight, the Attorney General of Arizona and Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva of Arizona are suing Mike Johnson. And they're suing him because Grijalva has not been sworn in. So what does all this have to do with Jeffrey Epstein? Because it does at its heart. Grijalva is the final vote needed for a bipartisan maneuver called a discharge petition that goes around Johnson. Goes around Johnson because he does not want a vote to release the full Epstein files. This would go around him, get that vote to release the files. Grijalva was elected in Arizona 28 days ago, a whole month. And Johnson has, in that time, used every excuse not to swear her in.
Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with...
As soon as the Democrats vote to reopen the government...
She deserves to have all the pomp and circumstance that everybody else does. Have her family and friends in the balcony.
But,
so if she flies in her family, would you guys do it?
She'll get the full bells and whistles. It hasn't been scheduled because we don't schedule things for pro forma.
Dude, he's such a cuck, dude. It's gotta, like... I don't, like... I don't want to ascribe evil to Mike Johnson, but like that's the only reasonable conclusion here is like you are evil. Like you're just a Trump cuck, and like you know what you're doing is wrong. You know what you're doing is illegal. You know you're lying. Like and you just do it anyways. Like it's like Mike Johnson should be in a military tribunal.
And when Grijalva called Johnson out on not swearing her in and doing it, she says, to protect Jeffrey Epstein and his high-powered clients, Johnson had this to say.
Bless her heart, she's a representative-elect. She doesn't know how it works around here.
Well, putting the condescension aside, she does know she's supposed to be sworn in. That, of course, is Democracy 101, right? You get elected by the people of your state and you get sworn in.
True. I'm unaware of any laws that say you don't swear in people when they're elected. Like, come on, dude.
That's democracy. And tonight, the Arizona Attorney General, Chris Mays, whom I'll be speaking to in just a moment, writes, and I quote, in this lawsuit, Speaker Johnson has not identified any valid reason for refusing to promptly seat Ms. Grijalva. Instead, on information and belief, Speaker Johnson wishes to delay seating Ms. Grijalva to prevent her from signing a discharge petition that would force a vote on the release of the Epstein files. And just a few moments ago, Johnson just responded.
I think it's patently absurd. We run the House. She has no jurisdiction. We're following the precedent.
There is no precedent, you absolute baby cuck.
She's looking for national publicity. Apparently she's gotten some of it, but good luck with that.
Johnson on defense, and it is not just because of...
Honestly, we might need to keep the government closed forever, because like this is, I feel like the last like 28 days or whatever, or however long this has been, 20 something days now, is like the only time the Republican Party has truly been on defense, at least rhetorically. Obviously they still have the presidency, so a lot of crazy stuff is still happening, but as far as like the Senate and the House, we are cucking them left, right, and center, which is based.
This specific lawsuit that was just filed. It is actually because Republicans, members of his own party in the House, are speaking out because many of them want the Epstein files released now, and they know that Grijalva's vote is the key to that.
It baffles me. To me, this is the easiest one to do. This is standing up for women and children who are raped, who are victims of sex trafficking. And this is for victims that are facing horrible consequences right now due to abuse. And I can't understand why this has been seemingly the biggest fight in Washington, D.C. It certainly shouldn't be.
Of course, I mean, yeah, it is though, because obviously, you know, Republicans like pedophiles. I don't know how better to say it.
She's completely right about that. It all comes on the same day the memoir of the most high-profile Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre, was published. Giuffre died by suicide after the decades of suffering she endured. She died earlier this year. But before she took her own life, she documented the unimaginable abuse that she suffered because of Jeffrey Epstein and his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, who, of course, is convicted. Abuse that Virginia writes from, quote, came from a multitude of powerful men. Among them were a gubernatorial candidate who was soon to win election in a western state and a former U.S. senator. Since Epstein usually neglected to introduce me to these men by name or introduce them at all, I would only learn who some of them were years
Why didn't she name them? She should have named them.
later when I studied
I'm
photographs
sure there's a
of
reason
Epstein.
for it, but it's like, oh no, ew.
Forcing
There we
Speaker
go.
Johnson's hand, gubernatorial candidate who was soon to win election in a western state and a former U.S. senator. Since Epstein usually neglected to introduce me to these men by name or introduce them at all, I would only learn who some of them were years later when I studied photographs of Epstein's associates and recognized the faces of those I was forced to have sex with. Giuffre even documents her abuse from a prime minister. In that case, she writes that he, quote, wasn't
Prime
interested in caresses, he wanted violence. He repeatedly choked me until I lost consciousness and took pleasure in seeing me in fear for my life.
Boris Johnson? Oh, wait, no. Wow. Oh, Nigel Farage? No, who's the guy? Is it Nigel? UK PM. PM list. Wait. Who's the guy? Who's the guy? Come on. Who's the guy? Oh, I see down at the bottom here. Tony Blair. It's got to be Tony Blair. It's got to be Tony Blair. Come on. Margaret Thatcher. Could you imagine if Margaret Thatcher? I'm going to choke you out.
Horrifically, the prime minister laughed when he hurt me and got more aroused when I begged him to stop. I mean, this
Crazy.
is despicable stuff. It's pretty awful to have to sit here and even read sentences like that. Never mind to imagine there's a person who wrote them because they happened to her. Because not one of those men has been held accountable. Not one. And many of them, right now, as we speak, are in circles of high society. Their friends might even see this. Their friends might even suspect or know, but they're just continuing along in high society. And that is wrong. And they must face accountability. Releasing the Epstein files, it should not be one of the biggest fights in Washington. Marjorie Taylor Greene is right about that. And perhaps Johnson is starting to feel the pressure because earlier today he was on the defense about the Epstein vote, saying to Politico, quote, the bipartisan House Oversight Committee is already accomplishing what the discharge petition, the gambit, sought and much more. It's important to just get to the bottom of this, though, when that is said, if that argument is made, to point out that that is false.
Even if it were true, it doesn't matter because you should still just release the Epstein files. You don't need. You could do both. You could just do both. Why wouldn't you do both, right? If it's a cabal of like rich pedophiles, yeah, you would want to expose them in every way you can, for as long as you can, forever. Like, what?
False. Because the Oversight Committee, they are doing work, but they are releasing documents that are only a fraction of what exist. According to Ro Khanna on the committee, he and obviously he's a Democrat, Massey a Republican, the files are just 1 gigabyte. 1 gigabyte of what the Oversight Committee has. That's what they have. There are 300 gigabytes of files that are known that the FBI said exist. So that is 1/300th of the total, right? And much of that 1/300th was already known to be public. Johnson knows all of this. So when he is claiming he is all for transparency in this, and when it comes to Epstein, saying if it hits 218, it comes to the floor. That's how it works. If you get the signatures, it goes to a vote. Well, of course, in a sense, that's talking in circles because you only get to 218 if. Why did we just talk about Epstein for a few minutes? Because you actually have to seat Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva. She has to be sworn in. That is the 218th vote. And perhaps Grijalva herself has said it best. Here's what she told me.
So if this has nothing to do with the Epstein files, then swear me in.
True.
Chris Mays is the Democratic Attorney General of Arizona. She's out front. She, along with Congresswoman-elect Grijalva, has just filed a lawsuit against the House of Representatives for refusing to seat Grijalva. And this is the Attorney General's first interview since filing that suit. So, Attorney General Mays, I appreciate your time. And, we have this breaking news. You're filing this suit. And just moments ago, we heard from Speaker Johnson just responding to your suit. He says, and I quote him, "It's patently absurd. We run the House. She has no jurisdiction," end quote. What?
Yeah, that's not even the defense of these things is like so stupid.
What do you say to him? What's the basis for your lawsuit?
Well, what we're saying to him and what we're asking a court to do is, declare that if Mike Johnson refuses to do his job, that Adelita Grijalva can be sworn in by a judge or any other person with the capability under the law to swear her in. And Mike Johnson can end this tomorrow by swearing Adelita in. She was duly elected by the people of Arizona, and we now have 813,000 Arizonans who are being taxed without representation in our state because Mike Johnson refuses to swear her in. So, we didn't want to have to file this lawsuit, but it's been 4 weeks now, Aaron, since.
How do you be a Republican in times like this? I guess actually I know how you be a Republican. You just don't talk about politics to anybody, and you don't really focus on it. That is the lifestyle of most Republicans. Republicans who are politically active are malicious. Republicans who are not politically active are stupid, and that's all it is.
She was elected 4 weeks where she has not been able to do her job, serve her constituents. We've got issues here, including flooding in her district. She hasn't been able to serve veterans and deal with other issues like Social Security. It's time. Time's up.
It's time.
So
time's
how
up. Dude, it's the Always Sunny clip. Time's up. Time's up, dude. Honestly, such a good episode of Always Sunny. Such a good episode. I highly recommend it. If you ever want to watch a good ass show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is the best show.
You're saying a judge could do this. Someone could get her seated right away. How quickly do you expect this lawsuit to move? I mean, essentially, is this something that could really result in her getting seated, sworn in by a judge or somebody in the next day or two? Or is this something more to make a point of precedent, and by the time this all works its way through, Johnson will have eventually done it?
Well, I wish Johnson would do it right now. In fact, I believe the Congresswoman-elect is in D.C. right now. He could walk over to her office right now and do it. Look, we are hoping that this lawsuit results quickly in Adelita Grijalva being sworn in. We're going to a judge in Washington, D.C., asking that judge to declare that she is eligible to be sworn in. And if Mike Johnson and the House of Representatives...
Dude, yes, let us cuck Mike Johnson. Well, he's already a cuck, but let's cuck him politically.
Representatives run by the Republicans right now refuse to do it, that someone else can do it so she can.
Have you had any interactions with Speaker Johnson about this? I mean, I know you had initially sent a letter to him. That was 8 days ago, and you threatened the lawsuit. And now he's responding, obviously, in this statement that we have. But have you had any interaction with him at all at this point?
I mean, sadly, no. I mean, all we have heard from Speaker Johnson is basically comments on shows like yours, and you know, he has not responded directly to us, and he's basically thumbing his nose at 813,000 Arizonans who don't have a representative, and my state is now down a representative. That's not
So based. Honestly, this might be the healthiest conversation that I've seen on CNN. Like they're getting woke. They're getting there. Look, I'm gonna take a quick break. Go eat some food. Go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. We're back. Okay. All right. So yeah, basically, Republicans very slowly getting cooked.
This is the most.
This is an interesting video. Russ Vought, the shadow president. I just thought this could be fun to watch. Yeah. Project 2025 guy who Donald Trump was like, I don't know anything about Project 2025, but then, is like Russ Vought, the Grim Reaper, the wonderful guy with the great Project 2025 ideas. Like, blatant lying, but, let's learn a little bit about him.
Most important person in the Trump administration that you've probably never heard of. At least until the president posted this.
Russ Vought is the Reaper. He wields a pen, the fun's in the brain. Here comes the Reaper.
Join us now.
The thing I really want to know is who makes these? All of like the AI stuff that Trump posts, like where does it come from? Who's out there doing these and then like getting them to is Trump like seeing them and then reposting them, or are they? Is this Stephen Miller's like second job is like making AI videos for Trump to post?
Russ Vought.
Russell Vought, director of the office.
I tell people when Russ Vought speaks, it's like a papal bull. You should pay attention.
He's more than just Donald Trump's budget guru. He has two very clear goals: to make the presidency as powerful as it's ever been, and to dismantle as much of the federal bureaucracy as he can. People have referred to him as the shadow president. I'm Andy Kroll. I'm an investigative reporter for ProPublica. I've been covering politics and government in Washington for almost 16 years. I had heard the name Russ Vought, but he was always just slightly outside the field of vision. And then I got my hands on this video.
We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. When they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work.
He talks about this goal of wanting to traumatize federal workers.
We want to put them in trauma.
That just planted this seed in my mind that I had to try to figure out who this person is.
I could fully justify never voting for a Republican just because of that clip and the fact that he's now in the White House. Like, it's so blatantly like stupid and also evil that like, yeah, if Republicans support this guy, what else are they supporting? Hell no, I'm not voting for them.
Declined my request for an interview, so I set out to talk to everyone I possibly could, watch every video, listen to every podcast. I obtained hours of briefings to his supporters that had never been published before.
America has experienced nothing short of a quiet revolution. We know the CRT and the transgender sewage that's being pumped into our schools and institutions, a border invasion furthering, quite frankly, a reverse colonization. We're actually trying to save the country.
Those recordings really helped me understand his evolution from this numbers wonk to...
We're all of these crazy people. They had to be like around post, like pre-Trump, right? But like, what is like the thing that's been like radicalizing these people? I don't get it. I don't get like how these people, like how their realities got shattered to such an extent that they became like these hyper evil partisans. Like, what happened? Like, I don't get it.
A full-fledged leader of the MAGA movement.
One of the key authors of Project 2025, Russell Vogt,
told the reporters that Trump would deploy the military to silence the unrest.
I think you have to rehabilitate Christian nationalism. You have the largest deportation in history, block funding for Planned Parenthood. I want to be the person that crushes the deep state.
Yeah, I called for trauma within the bureaucracies. The bureaucracies hate the American people.
What does that even mean? The bureaucracy hates the dude. He's so stupid.
He really has a vision to change the direction of American history.
We must do our duty for the course of this country, quite frankly, for the course of Western civilization, and for the course of history.
Anytime you hear someone talk about how they love America and then Western civilization in the same component, like, you know they're racist. Like, you know it.
Vogt has always seen himself as a blue-collar political outsider, even though he's spent basically his entire adult life here in Washington. The first job that seems to have left a real mark on him, and it did leave a serious imprint, was when he got a job working in the mailroom of a senator from Texas named Phil Gramm.
This is a collage of political giveaways. I am not going to spend more money we don't have on programs we can't afford.
Phil Gramm was the ultimate budget hawk. He was sort of half-jokingly referred to as the most hated man in Washington.
Our problem really comes down to the political power of the public employee labor union.
He was willing to make enemies not just of Democrats, but of Republicans as well. And that really gives you an insight into Russ Vogt. When he was inside the legislative branch, he finds himself battling far more with fellow Republicans who, in his view, are not living up to the principles of what it means to be a conservative. He grows so disillusioned that he leaves.
After 12 years on Capitol Hill, I was often frustrated by why more members of Congress simply didn't do the right thing. Most of them spend too much time listening to the loud vocal groups in their district clamoring for more government.
He goes to this new upstart group called Heritage Action, the quote-unquote new fangs of an old beast, which is the Heritage Foundation, the sort of long-standing conservative think tank. And he becomes basically the chief antagonist of his own party.
Let's give him a warm, warm welcome, Russ Vogt.
We believe that every member of Congress needs congressional accountability, whether they're the best or the worst member of Congress.
You should not fund and pay for Obamacare.
It's hurting the American economy.
Fund government, but not Obamacare.
At midnight last night, for the first time in 17 years, Republicans in Congress chose to shut down the federal government.
He is very much a creature of the swamp. Someone.
Libcuck live? Yeah. We're libbed up. We're cucked out. And we're live. We're woke, people. We're woke in a major way. A big new way. Hold up. You know what I need? Wait, real quick. Real quick. Let me check something. Hold up. Let me check this. It's not doing the thing. It's not doing it. Dude, what an incredible emote. Who could have come up with an incredible emote like that? He's checking Grindr. He's grinding. Oh my god, he's grinding. That's fine. Okay.
One who knows the federal budget inside and out. He has really passionate feelings about the House Rules Committee. Yet he comes around to this notion that...
Proof that I'm grinding? Not yet. There'll be evidence, but not proof for you.
We need to
not yet.
Stir people at the grassroots and make that change flow up.
Never wanted to leave the fight, and really until Donald Trump becomes elected, and then you have an opportunity for paradigm shifting work.
The time for empty talk.
I hate women. I don't hate women. I love women. I love women. I love the way they are. Queens.
is over. Now arrives the hour of action.
There was a scramble to try to get people to go into these key jobs, and getting people to go to the Office of Management and Budget is a crucial role. A lot of what they're doing right now at such a rapid clip, they tried to do during Trump's first administration. Every dollar that Congress approved to fund the government, OMB controls the flow of that money. If you were
Totally so Israel. No, I said I would. I said I agreed with you. I said they. I said they might. I was like, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And then they have. Like, yeah, it was like a maybe. And now we know they did. Like, yeah, obviously.
To pick the one place in the federal government to go where you could put a kink in the hose and bring everything to a stop.
Have they? Is the ceasefire officially over now? Is that, or are we still technically in ceasefire?
OMB is basically the only place where you could do that. But Congress has the power of the purse. And there is even a law that says the president cannot, quote unquote, impound, to use the legal jargon term, cannot freeze lawfully approved money just because the White House disagrees with it. But that's what they did in this case with Ukraine.
Democrats tonight are seizing on newly unredacted documents about what's at the heart of the president's impeachment that free.
I don't know what they're waiting for people to get back home to start the buying again. Do we have evidence that like says they've been waiting because they want to kill people? Is that what they're saying? Is there proof of that? I would probably push back on that. I would say multiple Israeli prisoners. Hamas was kind to. Okay, and I literally could care less if they're saying it doesn't matter if Hamas is kind or not. Okay, they're still terrorists.
On military aid to Ukraine.
In 2019, the message comes down from the White House to the Office of Management and Budget that we want to freeze more than $200 million of money that was going to go to Ukraine in the form of security assistance.
The bureaucracy was literally just ignoring it. And quite frankly, his political appointees, like John Bolton, were ignoring him as well.
In Vote's eyes, this was a deep state insubordination, a rebellion by employees who weren't on board with the president.
Dude, I actually, you know, I'm done. I cannot engage with politics. This is so... It's just so stupid, dude. It's so stupid. There's nothing... Like, the Republican Party they're just doing whatever they want. There's no actual intelligence. There's no conversations. It's just stupid people being stupid across the board. Israel is the biggest terrorist state. The Palestinian prisoners look like Holocaust survivors, and the Israeli prisoners like, yeah, this ex-teacher gave us a beach day and he gave me a Torah. What if I hit you with one of these? You ready? I'm going to type a message. If I can type and also use capital letters correctly. I'm going to kill myself. That's right. They're both equally bad. Emma Eli? Is it... Emma, I love you. No, they're both equally bad, okay? Hamas is a terrorist group. Israel is doing terrorism. I don't care. Listen, I don't care, okay? I'm not going to get into like a hyper-specific argument about who's worse, okay? I'm happy to say Israel's bad. I'm happy to say Hamas is bad. You don't need to have this weird argument where you say one is better than the other. They're both horrific. Like, why can't... That's such an easy thing to do. Just say they're both bad. Like, two things can be bad.
And we cut the money off.
Ew, go away. Okay, what is this? What was I doing here? Okay. Cool. I do. Israel is bombing children, putting bombs in kids' toys. Hamas like ex-teachers trying to defend their kids from getting... What an odd comparison. I'm radicalized in that they're freedom fighters. The end. You can believe that. You would be outside of reality the same way Trump supporters are outside of the reality, right? Like if you as a just a person can't realize that Hamas is bad and doing bad things, like I don't know how to help you. Like, if you can't accept that reality, like, I don't know, like you can believe that Hamas is justified in what they're doing. You can believe that. That's a crazy thing to believe, but you can believe that. I would just say that if you do, you have to be able to live in reality, and you have to then also be able to look at the whole thing and say, oh, everyone here is bad. I'm sorry to believe the moral absolute of imperialism is bad, and Zionists are saying, I'm not disagreeing. Why do you, okay, stop. You're literally MAGA. You're literally MAGA, but for like Israel-Palestine. Like, this is crazy. Like, you're doing the same thought process, which is, let me ignore everything that's happening and only look at this stuff. Like you're literally doing I don't know anything about that. Let me do this talking point. Like, I don't care. Like, it's a waste of time.
And it was like all.
Either way, you came in at the worst time because I'm ending stream. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm MAGA because I'm like imperialism, but I'm a white guilt convinced of brown people. No, you're not literally MAGA. What? No, stop strawmanning. What I'm saying is you can say Israel and Hamas are both bad. Can you say that? You can add context after, but are you capable of the first easiest thing, which is both of these parties are doing bad things? Like, you can't. If you can't do that, then yeah, like, I can't help you. Guys, the Europeans are fleeing Europe, and why do you keep strawmanning? What are you doing? What are you doing? Say there's one very easy thing to say here, which is Hamas has done horrible things and is bad, and Israel is the aggressor. Israel is just as bad as Hamas. I'll say that. I don't care. I'm not going to say they're way worse. I'm going to say they're both bad. Okay? I don't know every nuanced detail of the whole thing, but I know both sides are doing horrific things. So yeah, I'm not going to I don't care. I don't care. I have no dog in this fight. I've told you this. I'll nuke the whole thing. I don't. What are you doing? You're never gonna win a messaging war if you can't like say that Hamas is bad. Like, if you can't say that, you're never gonna stop the genocide. You're just going to. I need to leave. I need to be done. 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 It's over. I need to be done.